Alright, so now we're going to talk about how Hitler is going to come into power with this video. Alright, and so Hitler, born in Austria, failed secondary school, is going to be rejected to go to the Fine Arts Academy. Alright, and so this guy, he's you can kind of imagine him as a young man. He doesn't really have a direction. Things he wanted to do in his life are gone. He can't do them. And what he's going to end up doing is he's going to really end up, he's going to try, one of the things going to happen is the First World War is going to break out. And he is going to try to find his significance in being a part of something. But the Austria-Hungarian army, when they go to war, rejects him. All right, and so he ends up joining the German army. All right, and so that's how, if you're like, how is he from Austria, but he ends up being the chancellor of Germany, the leader of Germany? All right, that's why. All right, and he's going to learn these beliefs. He's going to start getting connected with people that are anti-Semitic, meaning that means anti-Jewish, racist to the core of his beliefs, extreme nationalist. All right, all these things are going to start popping up with Hitler. All right, and so he, like I said, he fought during the war. He fought for the Germans. You can see his old mustache the way it is right here. Part of the reason why he gets that cut off is because he had a hard time with his gas mask. And so he keeps just the part under the nose. Sidebar there. But he's going to come back from the war more radical than ever. I mean, he's going to be upset with the treaty because he really develops a brotherhood with the Germans. He feels like he has a purpose with the Germans fighting in the war. Something he didn't have prior to, and so he is going to start to become more political. All right, and he's going to start to speak out against the government at the time, all right, for accepting the terms of the Treaty of Versailles. All right, he was actually working for the government when he started spying on the Nazi Party. He was spying on the Nazi Party to make sure they didn't become too radical. But then as they started talking about these anti-Semitic, these nationalistic goals, he realized he was much more a part of them than what he thought. And so Hitler's going to work his way up. He's going to actually stay in that party. He's going to work his way up. He would give these really impassioned speeches, and he became very popular within the party. The Nazi Party, and he is going to see. You can see the date there, 1923. Now you probably don't know this, but a year prior to, if you're watching this video, you're probably not watching the Mussolini one, but a year prior to, Benito Mussolini did this exact same thing. All right, and what you're going to find is that Hitler is going to really, his early career is going to try to be modeled after Benito Mussolini, right? Because Mussolini was basically everything Hitler wanted to be. Mussolini was kind of a no-name in the war, kind of made himself a name, and then he developed this idea of fascism, and Hitler's going to take it on, and Hitler's going to see what Mussolini does, and he's going to try to copy it, and then eventually he's going to end up taking over and be like the main guy in the scenario. But Hitler is going to do the exact same thing Mussolini does. Mussolini grabs all his black shirts and says, hey, let's march on Rome, let's overthrow the government, because he had a very strong following. Hitler's going to do the same thing. They're going to go from giving these big speeches in these beer halls. Let's go overthrow the government. Let's do this. And then they march through the streets of Munich, and then they get fired upon, and they all scatter and run, and Hitler goes to prison. Little different ending. Mussolini does it. He gets put into power. Hitler does it. He gets put into prison. All right. While in prison, though, he's going to write a book. And in his book, it's called Mein Kampf, which means My Struggle. And in that, he's going to lay out his ideas. And this is going to actually gain him some popularity because he's going to lay out all the things. He's going to say, we need to, once again, nationalism, German nationalism. We are superior beings. He says, we are descendant from the ancient Greeks, these ancient authorities, these beings that were superior to all others that took over Europe. Right? We're better than everybody else, and we need to come back to that. And then he started blaming this anti-Semitism. He's going to start with very simple lies, and he's going to peg the public with them nonstop. Like, the problem with our economy is the Jew. The problem with our culture is the Jew. The problem with this is the Jew. And he's going to start to blame, keep very simple, very anti-Semitic stories out, and people are going to start to believe them. or at least question them. And he's going to blame a lot of basically like the Germans are superior, and the Treaty of Versailles, the loss in the war, this is all the Jews' fault. If we could get rid of the undesirable parts of our society and we just had pure blood Germans, everything is going to be so much better. And we will be a great nation again if we can do that. And he was anti-communist, which a lot of people liked, because once again, if you have a lot of wealth, you own your own business, you're going to give your support more to somebody that's anti-communist as opposed to a communist person, because you're going to lose your business. And so he also believed that Lebensraum is what that's called. We need to expand. We should expand our borders and take over inferior beings. All right, that's the, especially he said, we're going to take over space to the east. Well, what's east of Germany? Russia. That's going to be important to know. All right, because he's going to come back. And we're going to talk about that when we talk about World War II. He talks about in his book, we are superior. We need slaves, Slavic people to work for us. And he talks about taking over the Russians, all right, but more territory in general, because like if we're going to have a great nation, we need to have more space. Hitler's going to realize the only way through power is through legal means. All right, he's going to get out of prison after about 5 years. After he writes his book, get out of prison after about 5 years on good behavior, and he is going to start to go through and try to expand the Nazi power through legal means. All right, and eventually, once again, looking at the dates here, the economic problems of the Great Depression, where people are without hope, they're going to turn to Hitler, who has a very simple message about national pride, about hope, about returning Germany to greatness. And the Great Depression is going to be the launching point that Hitler's going to use, because he's been saying these things for a while, but he didn't have the footing that he has now. He's learned that I'm going to do things politically, and he is going to maneuver his way using the Great Depression to really springboard himself into power. Hitler's going to gain power. Like I said, he's going to continue to work through pressure. With Hitler gaining more and more popularity, Hitler's going to achieve the position of chancellor, and it's going to allow him to eventually create his own government. All right, so President Hindenburg is going to give him the power of chancellor, and really what that is that they were kind of hoping. There's that saying, keep my friends close and my enemies closer. So I can keep an eye on him. I can give Hitler this power, but I'll have an eye on him and I'll know what he's doing. I'll be able to control him. But the problem is and what nobody knows, is that Hitler is not controllable. He wants domination. He wants to expand Germany, expand its borders without cost. He just wants to continue to grow Germany. All right, and so I think that date's wrong, actually. I thought it was 34. But in March, I think it's 1934. Might be 33. He's going to pass the Enabling Act, since he has so many people in the Reichstag. That's the German parliament, by the way. They became the biggest power. I kind of skipped through that last time. You saw the Reichstag. You're like, what is that? That's the German parliament. That's like our Congress. All right. They're the most powerful political party around. And so they vote to give, because of the economic problems, the Enabling Act allows Hitler to ignore the Constitution. All right, for 4 years to fix the problems. Now, if anybody knows anything about history, whenever you give somebody unlimited power, they usually don't give it back. And so the Reichstag passed this not only because of the power they have in the Reichstag, the German parliament, but they also are going to use threats, just like Mussolini did. Basically, anybody that's against them, they are either going to threaten, they're going to kill, they're going to intimidate. So a lot of people didn't even show up for the vote because they're like, I can't vote no on this, because if I do, Hitler's going to kill me. All right, or they're going to come after my family or something. All right, so the Nazis, with that fell swoop right there, the Enabling Act, that's going to give the Nazis complete control over Germany without, you can see Jews are going to start to lose their rights. Trade unions are going to be dissolved. Concentrations are going to be set up for anybody that's against the Nazis. Any political parties are going to be abolished. And the Nazis are going to basically put Hitler as their Mein Führer, the leader. All right. And Hitler's goal is going to be to develop a racial state. that's going to dominate Europe. All right. Once again, the logic is, hey, if we're superior, we need to get rid of all the undesirable elements of our society. So then, when it comes time, when we go to fight a war because he wants to expand his territory, if we're superior beings, which he believes they are, then if we have superior soldiers, we're going to win the war. We need to get rid of all the undesirables first. All right, and so he's going to use his economic policies, and he's going to create a Third Reich, which will live for 1,000 years. Close. It was like 14 years. But it wasn't 14. When I say 14, it's 11 years. Math is hard. All right, and so Hitler's going to rule with absolute terror. He's going to have the Guard Squadron, the SS, is going to maintain order. They will be patrolling. They will be basically arresting anybody. There's going to be the Gestapo. There's going to be secret police that are going to be monitoring the streets, eliminating anybody that is standing in the way of this pure Aryan race, this pure Aryan culture, this country. All right, and so the goal is going to be to take over. And Hitler is going to get people back to work. All right, and one of the things he's going to do, Hitler's going to put people back to work through public work projects. All right, very similar to the New Deal, but instead of making bridges and dams and roads, he's going to get them building up, and this is going to be important because we're going to talk about this, building up Germany's military again. All right, so he's going to start a massive rearmament program in secret where he is going to be secretly plotting, hey, we're not allowed to have a navy. Okay, we'll say it's a milk factory, but we're going to be building ships. We'll say it's an elementary school, but we're going to be building planes. You say we can't have these things, that's fine. We're going to build it in secret. So Hitler's going to solve the unemployment. He's going to really kill two birds with one stone, and this is what actually going to give Hitler a lot of popularity. You can see this unemployment chart. People are going to get back working again. All right, it's going to be his own New Deal, and it's actually going to be more successful than the one in the United States in terms of getting people back working again. But that's going to help a lot of people to accept the Nazis. Like, I may not agree with him, but what can I say? I'm working. That's a good thing. So the Depression is going to come to an end because of Hitler's rearmament program. He's going to fund all these jobs. Once again, a lot of the companies that they're stealing from the Jewish people, they're going to give over to others because the Jews are going to be pretty much excluded from society. And Hitler's going to make, like I said, some pretty beneficial changes to the economy. And he also believed that women had a role as well to encourage them to stay at home. That their role was to bear children for the Aryan race, that they could have a strong Aryan race. The purpose is to, once again, indoctrinate the young people into the Nazi ways, to believe, to be all in, to brainwash them, and to think that their ways are best. All right, and so Hitler is going to get into power through legal means, using the Great Depression. All right, to recap this, he is going to, using the Great Depression, become the Nazi power, giving people a message of hope. Then he's going to, once he gets put into high enough position, when he gains enough popularity, they're going to put him into the position of chancellor. And then that's going to allow him to pass the Enabling Act, which is going to allow him to ignore the Constitution for 4 years to fix the economy, to fix the problems caused by the Great Depression. And then it will, obviously there's no going back from there. And he's going to continue to use terror and fear until he can create this pure-blood Aryan race of pure-blooded Germans that are superior to all others.